Hello all, welcome to Hockey Tap Podcast, episode 199D. So Steve came back, and
Here
now
I
we don't
am.
have shorts guys, so we
Shorts
can't
out.
really do 200 without the 4. So 199D. Yeah, we're figuring this out.
Will next week be E?
I am your host.
If somebody's out.
Yeah, baby. I'm your host, Bill Dean. I'm, of course, here with my two co-hosts, Little Steve, back from taking the ring to Mordor, and Schwim. You can find us on, brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy of Sam Wu. I'm behind the glass. I actually didn't mess it up today, but there's always time. Brought to you by, you can find us, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Yep, I jinxed myself. Please leave us a 5-star review if you'd be ever so kind. Boys, what are you drinking?
I am trying this. I haven't tried it yet. I texted you guys about it and then never got an opportunity to try it yet. The new, of course, Dogfish, and I'm wearing Dogfish. Oh, you can't see it on the pocket. There she is.
Now I see it.
Tropical Squall, Imperial Golden Ale. So we've had Hazy Squall, we've had Citrus Squall, and now we have Tropical Squall. Pineapple and mango brewed with. An ale, if you didn't grasp that by the Imperial Golden Ale thing. 9%. All right.
Damn.
9%, not bad.
Yeah, these squalls are dangerous.
Oh, Jesus.
Danger mouse.
Dangerous. I'm busting out the 61, I guess. This is all I got.
There
also Dogfish.
What do you mean that's all you got?
6.5
bad thing.
No, yeah, it's true. I mean, it's like I need more in my fridge. Yeah, you said I could. You said I can come over and pick up a 6-pack real quick, but I could not. I was knee deep.
I'll give you whatever you need, guy.
In poop.
Knee deep in shit. Huh? Yeah, I have those. That Eric today. I mean, he's gonna look back on one of these podcasts and be like, "Dad, why did you say that?" Eric today. Boy, that was a bad one. Anyways, I myself have. I'm going on an Alicia high right now because she brought me back some delicious beers from the Shire. But this one is from her trip to. I think this is Hong Kong. It actually doesn't say it on here. So I'm hoping it's Hong Kong. Maybe. Suntory Highball. It is a 7% beer. I actually don't know what it is, so we'll see in a minute.
Slice of highball. Be inside.
Especially, there's no fruit in this one, or at least nothing full to the top right now, as everyone could attest from my last week's episode, which was very funny because all of a sudden the fruit just kind of appeared as I opened up the top. It does not smell good, so we're in for a treat today. All right, boys, let's get towards the tap for today's episode. Here's our weekly snapshot. 5 teams for 2 spots. 5 teams for 2 spots. In the East, we have, obviously, Montreal Canadiens, who have knocked out a bunch of teams, including my ever-so-putrid New York Rangers. You have the 1 point behind and still in the contest, and this is what I'm rooting for. And I know Montreal, they're up 2-1 right now. They can clinch with a win tonight. The Columbus Blue Jackets, you thought they were down because they had just had a putrid, couple weeks there. All of a sudden, they bring this rookie goaltender, and he does really well. And he had a shutout in the over the weekend against the Caps, and then a 1-goal game. Let up 1 goal against the Caps on Sunday. And so it comes down to today. If Montreal wins, I think they clinch because they both have same number of games played. And Columbus, could get there. I'm hoping for it, but it's a tough hill to climb with 3 points back in the 4 games. So games.
It sucks that it's got to be Chicago that they got to root for and hope to help them out.
Yeah.
Like you wish the schedule would have been like maybe Montreal going against like a division rival or something at the end of the season.
Because they do have Carolina. Montreal has Carolina as their last game, so that's obviously you're hoping that they can get better there. But against Chicago's not helping. And then in the western side, technically Minnesota could be bumped from the first wild card. Although they've they got their studs back and they're playing pretty decent hockey right now. But St. Louis Blues 94 points, and then right behind them Calgary Flames at 92. Calgary has 2 games in hand. St. Louis only has 1. So if St. Louis does win, they will clinch.
1 game
Same
in
thing
hand.
with
Calgary's played 80.
Sorry. Calgary's played 80. So Calgary has 2 game has the 1 game in hand, correct? But if St. Louis wins, I think they take it because of tiebreaker being regulation overtimes wins, which they would have then 2 ahead of them. So, but Calgary's staying in it to the last little ditch effort. So, but the rest of the tournament's pretty much, I guess.
So isn't it if one of the Minnesota and St. Louis only have 1 game left, if either of them lose their game, Calgary would have to win both of their games and they would be in?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, right? Calgary would have to win both and be in. Yeah, because there wouldn't be a tiebreaker because St. Louis would then have 94.
Don't they have a tiebreaker with St. Louis, though? If they time
only
points?
If St. Louis, if they time points, correct. If the time points, St. Louis is the tiebreaker for regulation overtime wins.
Yeah, regulation wins.
Minnesota would be a point ahead. Yeah.
All right, so could come down to the last game. We'll see. They both play tomorrow, I think, don't they? Minnesota and St. Louis, and also
Calgary. Also, I believe Calgary.
Calgary,
Columbus.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I think they'll tomorrow. Play. And then the last game's on Thursday.
Maybe not.
Yeah, the last game of the week are on Thursday. Rangers play on Thursday. That's the end of Sam Rosen's career. A little bit of good news. They're bringing in Kenny Albert.
That's good.
Nice.
We all know.
I love Kenny Albert and I love Sam Rosen. Yeah, we knew it was going to be them. But could you go from Sam Rosen's not the best looking gentleman, and I love Sam Rosen, but you're going from the Penguin to Kenny Albert, who looks like he got hit in the face with a shovel. Two guys that were not meant for television.
I don't know what Batman villain you can compare him to.
I always joke that Kenny Albert looks like the product of one of Marv Albert's sexcapades.
Drunken sexcapade. Yeah. I mean, there's been lots of talk about what he looks like, and I won't go.
He's good though.
Reaches, but yeah, he is. He's a fantastic announcer, and you're going really from a great announcer to another great announcer, so that's good. And now it's what happens when Micheletti. Yeah, he's going to be around for at least a season, so we'll see. Yeah, Schwim Thursday, Tampa at New York.
Yeah, that game could be big. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe I'll see if I get tickets.
Big for Tampa.
Do you want to go?
I would go if you get tickets.
All right, let's see what I can do.
Because I have tickets to the Devils Red Wings game, but I'm trying to sell them.
Well, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it does.
I didn't even know I had that game. That was like my last game that I had, apparently.
I mean, I wouldn't want to remember that game either. All right, so obviously the playoffs in hand.
Prediction from before, well, not prediction, my possibility that I said prior to leaving for New Zealand, that the Devils could have fewer points than both wildcard teams.
Yes.
Which is still very possible. Well, they're already 5 points behind Ottawa, and Montreal they've both played 80 games. Devils have 89, Montreal has 88, so that could happen too.
Ooh, so it's possible.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
It's very possible, actually.
Columbus would actually. So if Columbus tied in points, they'd have 20. So Devils would win because they have the regulation overtime wins break. So they would technically, So it wouldn't matter.
So they cannot. Columbus cannot catch the Devils. Devils are already in.
They cannot catch 3. Yeah. They're clinched for a Metro, non-wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's going to be right now.
Series that was set, wasn't it? The Devils Carolina. That was the first one that was set in stone.
Well, technically they're all set. So you're gonna.
Well, no, Tampa's not set. That series isn't set.
Tampa.
Because they can
have
still get
4
first.
points up on you.
Yeah, but if they lose and we win,
nope. No.
We get it.
Because you'd have the regulation wins. You'd have regulation wins would beat them if they lost both games.
Toronto has row. Oh no! Wait,
that's not row.
No, it's regulation wins first.
Then
it's regulation wins first, then regulation overtime.
And that's tied currently.
Yeah, they're tied currently.
All they need is a point to clinch the division, but still.
No matter what, it's Carolina Debs, and it will be Washington and the winner of the 8th spot. Ottawa automatically would play the winner of the whole between Tampa and Toronto, and then Florida meets the loser of Tampa and Toronto. I mean, I want a battle of Florida and a battle of Ontario, so
it's most likely going to be that. But it's just maybe Florida could overtake Tampa and take second, and Tampa would fall down to 3, or Tampa stays in second and Florida stays in 3. But Tampa also has a chance to be first.
Technically, Ottawa could. No, Ottawa cannot hit the 3 seed too.
No, they can't. Yeah, they're locked into
regulation wins. Yeah,
2 or 3. Florida is.
And going back to the trade deadline, when we were talking about this potential playoff matchups, and we're getting it, it's potentially we could get Dallas versus Colorado and Tampa versus Florida, and those are 4.
And Toronto, Ottawa,
heavily favored Stanley Cup winners.
Steven, I want to get your Schwim. Obviously, being Schwim, he's a disgusting pessimist for his own team. I said Tampa is the best team in the East. I think they are the Stanley Cup Eastern Conference favorite. What are your thoughts on that?
My opinion, I agree with you. Well, betting wise, I don't know what the bets are, but I agree.
I don't care about betting. That's because they're probably going to give it to Florida just because they're Stanley Cup champs. I understand that.
Yeah,
I think Tampa going into the playoffs.
But I think it's Florida, Tampa. I think those are the two. Those are the only two. Yeah. I mean, Washington. I give Washington credit
Toronto's
for what
hot,
they did this season. We talked about that before. Toronto, until Toronto proves something else in the playoffs, I'm not going to take them seriously. So it's really like I said. I think it's in order. I think it's Tampa, Florida, and it's unfortunate that they're playing each other in the first round. Or
most likely, yeah.
Yeah, most likely going to play themselves in the first round. Most likely,
yeah.
I think this is.
We'll find out.
I think there's
tomorrow.
Gin.
Is it a highball?
Whiskey in here.
If it's a highball, then it's a cocktail.
It's whiskey.
Not a beer.
I was not expecting that.
We took a big swig of it.
2-1.
Oh,
Alicia thought this was a beer. It is not a beer. I'm tearing.
And then Dallas, Colorado, also. And you know what?
Yeah.
Yes.
I am taking
Dallas, Colorado
once again.
Winnipeg.
I'm taking the friggin' Kings over Edmonton again. I'm going to do it again. When we're picking, just let it be known. I'm saying it right now. I'm taking the damn Kings over Edmonton.
All right. So here was the.
We got to do our picks
so
at some point.
Yeah,
we will.
Well, they need to be set first.
Yeah, we'll do them. I'll get them from you in text
Saturday.
I'll get them in text, and then we'll announce it next week.
Yeah, by Monday Stanley Cup be like a game. But
matchups. I said Stars over Tampa, so mine's still going strong.
That could happen. Okay.
Steven said Stars over Florida.
Okay.
Schwim said Winnipeg over Florida.
Okay.
And
we're all in it.
Shorts guy said the Debs over Winnipeg.
All right, so all of our teams are at least in it.
Shorts guy also said Calgary versus Winnipeg in the conference final, and Florida versus Jersey. Schwim said Florida and New Jersey, Vegas and Winnipeg. Steve said Florida and Tampa, Stars and Knights. Yeah, that can't happen.
Neither of them. Well,
and then
Stars Knights could.
Stars and Knights could, right? Yeah, because they're they're both different conferences. And then I said New York, Tampa. That's obviously well out the window. And Stars, Canucks.
Also,
who did I say? Oh, I said Tampa, Florida. Yeah.
You said I had a bad one. And Rangers.
I said Canucks. No, Canucks and Rangers. Yeah, that was real bad.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got a question for you guys in a second, which is going to be a pretty good one. Bold predictions. Let's go over this because it's funny too. Steven, you son of a bee.
Yeah,
you nailed this on the dot. Jets President Trophy.
Yep.
And what was your negative? Pens bottom 5.
Oh, okay. Are they bottom 5? They're not bottom 5.
I don't think you're going to hit bottom 5. No, not even close. They're about 10.
Somewhat close. 10.
10. 9.
They're 10th?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
because you got San Jose, Blackhawks, Predators, Kraken, Boston.
So 1, 2, 3, they're 4th.
I forgot how bad Seattle is. Jeez.
They're 9.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Anaheim, Seattle, Nashville, Chicago, San Jose.
Yeah.
Boston, Philadelphia. Jesus, Boston is the worst team in the East.
Yeah, in the East. Yeah.
Yeah, they just.
But Steven, fantastic calls on those.
Right?
Schwim said Pens trade Crosby to Avs. That didn't happen. Canada wins the cup.
Well
we'll
done,
see.
Schwim.
That could happen.
Shorts guy said Calgary playoff bound.
Winnipeg, so.
Almost. Shorts guy also said Lafreniere to Tampa Bay. That didn't happen either.
Not yet.
Wow, my bold predictions. Wait till you see these ones. This is horrible. Utah and Buffalo both make the playoffs.
Okay, nope.
And an even better one. Guess who misses the playoffs to see Buffalo and Utah? Kings and Jets.
What? Kings is
wow. Two of the best defensive teams in the damn league. You have them out.
At the President's Trophy,
the worst defensive teams.
Team just won 115 points.
Oh man,
what an idiot!
That's funny.
Yeah. All right, so I did have some.
Who'd you pick for MVP? Friggin' Matt Rempe?
Kaprizov, but he got hurt.
Who did I pick? I don't even remember.
You said
I don't remember any of our picks.
Shrimp said Scheifele, and Shorts guy said Kachuk. So really, no one's going to win the MVP race here.
No, none of them are going to be. Well, McDavid will be a nominee, but he's not going to win it.
Norris was Dahlin, Morrissey, and Seth Jones.
Who? What did I say?
Morrissey, yeah.
Vezina,
Shesterkin, Hellebuck for Steven, so he'll get that.
Oh, yeah.
Vasi and Olmark, Shorts guy, horrible. Rookie of the Year, Mishkov, Stankoven, and Seamus Casey. That will happen with none of those two. Seamus Casey.
Jesus. You don't even and
then the Rock Richard. I said Kyle Connor. He's close, but not going to get there. Matthews for Steven. Reinhardt, and then Shorts guy said Paul Cotter. And then he said McDavid. So that's also not going to happen. I love our predictions. Fantastic. Steven's right on par with two awesome ones, and I was so far off on two negatives.
I didn't realize Draisaitl was dominating the goals race.
Yeah, he's doing fantastic.
He's up by 10 or so, isn't he?
Yeah, he's up by 7.
Nylander's Nylander's definitely doing well.
Tage has found his touch again.
Yeah, Tage was third now, isn't he? Right? Yeah.
44 is third, yeah.
Nice. Gensel just scored his 40th.
Is that the... No, he scored 40 before.
I think that's like 3 in a row for him.
Connor's got 41 and even made that, what I don't remember what I said, the highest scoring U.S.-born forward.
U.S.-born,
and now the highest,
and he's scratched.
And the highest, Tage Thompson, American, didn't even make it, and followed by Kyle Connor, who was scratched in the last 2 games of the Four Nations Cup. I don't know. I don't know if that's all on Sullivan, but that's bad.
Yeah, I don't know who's making.
I would think it's got to be Sullivan,
I would think it's him. He has to be making final lineup decisions. I would think it's him. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's all in hindsight. But...
Yeah. I mean, but going into the tournament, Kreider's on this all-time low, and he, I know he scores a goal his first shift in that game 3, but you can't tell me that Kyle Connor's just not a better overall player at this point in his career. And clearly you had guys that were hurt and lower down the lineup. You needed one of the best players in it that has, that wears America on his uniform, and that's Kyle Connor.
Well, I think not to dwell on this subject again, but I think that the Four Nations, totally exciting. But obviously, this was a prequel to the Olympics, right? We all agree on that.
Yeah.
And I think all the players basically agreed on that too. So this was almost like a I don't know, like a, what do you call it, preseason or something to the Olympics, where you kind of give some guys some looks. And I hope it was lessons were learned, and the U.S. needs goal scoring, and hopefully they, take somebody like Kyle Connor, utilize him appropriately, and then maybe think about, replacing guys like a Brock Nelson and Chris Kreider specifically, and bringing in, goal scorers.
Well, Kreider's not making it.
Tage Thompson, no.
There's no way.
Brock Nelson might, right? But and also you can bring more players.
Possibly.
So I think you're going to see some of those guys that were like on the borderline. Like I think certainly Tage Thompson will make it. And I even know that I said that it was okay that he was left off, but in retrospect, I don't necessarily agree with my opinion anymore. So I think you'll see him go in one way or another. And like I said, there's a bigger roster spaces, so you're gonna see guys like that make it. More skilled guys make it.
Clayton Keller too, I think, will have a really good shot making it. And maybe even
I think
Matthew
Logan Cooley needs a serious look as well.
A big look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, here's a good question. Trivia. Already, I'm gonna go to trivia first. David Pastrnak, over 100 points on a bottom 5 team. How many other players with over 100 points on sub 5, so the 5 worst teams in the league, in a given year. So can you name those players? Or give me a number. How many? 5.
I'll guess there were 5 of them. So try to guess the 5.
Yeah.
Well, Lemieux definitely was.
Lemieux, yeah. I forgot there was 6. So Lemieux was 100 points his rookie year on a bottom 5 team.
Yeah.
They got the second overall pick and picked some not so great player. I forgot his name.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember who was picked.
Chandler something.
I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't go back that far.
There's 5 others. So Steven, one's on your team.
Sid.
So Sid and Ovi, their rookie years were both over 100 points.
I was going to say
was Ovi a bottom?
I wasn't
was
sure
Ovi bottom
5? Ovi was bottom 5
team.
Too. Yeah.
Okay, so those are 2 out of the 5. There's 3 others.
Yeah, and the guy that I said was on your team, that wasn't even the one. It wasn't Sid.
Oh, okay.
Jesus. Yager?
Carlson.
No. Carlson with San Jose.
Oh, yeah, he just did it.
20 point. Yeah. The last 2 would be one Wayne Gretzky. He had 140 points on the LA Kings, and they finished bottom 5. And then Joe Sakic with the Quebec Nordiques had 16 wins total, and he had 106 points.
Wow,
that's pretty.
I was going to guess
16 wins. Jesus Christ!
I was going to guess Thornton.
Yeah.
I thought Thornton had like a lot of points in one of those terrible San Jose years.
I don't think he was sub 5 though. Remember 5 worst
I was thinking
teams.
Solani, like his rookie year. I don't know if he did. He have 100 points.
But they were not
70 goals.
He did, but they weren't that bad.
They weren't a bottom 5.
All right. So I have some ward stuff. We'll do that afterwards. Here's my question to you: what team? I'm gonna give you 3. Had the worst year start to finish based off of everything full scope of the whole year? Nashville, Vancouver, New York Rangers.
This is an opinion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What team do you think?
It's got to be Nashville.
Yeah, I agree. Nashville.
I was going to say Vancouver. But
Vancouver is also bad.
Yeah, but like Vancouver,
all 3 of them are bad.
I was really surprised by.
Yeah.
Vancouver,
so
I thought
all
could
3
go
teams.
either way. Everyone thought
Nashville
was going to be
playoffs.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nashville, all the big tickets come in, and each one of them failed. Like all 3 of the big ones were just tanked.
Yeah.
UC Saros had a down year. They have no 2C. They obviously do a bunch of stuff at the trade deadline to get rid of guys.
Yossi's been out for a while now, hasn't he?
Yossi, yeah.
Him
all really just career under years for all their big players. Vancouver, the infighting, obviously, Pettersson and Miller, their whole beef, and it just kind of affected the whole team. Brock Besser issues, which now he says he's going to leave in the offseason, which is a big blow. By the way, he was a New York Ranger fan as a kid, so
there you go.
Trade Crowder.
Is he UFA, correct?
He's a UFA, correct.
Yeah, he's a UFA.
The Hughes injury, which was big, and then Rick Tocchet, there's been issues with him and what's going to happen with him. Sounds like he might be on his way out too. And then you have the New York Rangers with Gaudreau and Trouba exits, the team quitting in November and December, Shesty with highs and lows, the D sucked something terrible, and their power play just vanished. So that's another one. But yeah, I thought Vancouver probably had the worst of them. I could see all 3 of them.
The Rangers
just
number 2.
Pathetic.
Just because the Rangers went from President's Trophy winning team to not even making the playoffs the next year, and I think that's only happened. How many times did that happen? I don't think it's happened a lot.
4 times, and I have the stat for you here because
I
make sure I clicked and got stuff in here. Missed playoffs after winning the President's Trophy. The 2007-2008 Buffalo Sabres, the 2014-2015 Boston Bruins, and the 92-93 New York Rangers, who went on the next year to win the Cup.
All right. So if history
President's
repeats itself,
Trophy missed the playoffs
to win the Cup next year.
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping.
You need a friggin' big turnaround in the offseason for that to maybe happen.
It's going to happen. I think half this team is going to be different next year.
Do you think, though, that you're going to get – I think you're going to get stuff like, picks and maybe some prospects. But do you think if you clean house, like you say, do you think you'll have a more competitive team next season? Or is it going to be like a couple years down the line?
I don't think they're going to win a cup next year. Is what would be my answer to that. I think that they're going to have some trouble with their own RFAs. You have Keandre Miller and Will Cooley, who are both RFAs and are prime time offer sheet candidates. And if someone goes after them hard, I don't think the Rangers can have enough cap space without making some good moves to re-sign these guys. So I think that's issue number one. Number two, I think Kreider's gone. He's been here for a while. He did not play very well. I think he still has trade value, and he could probably get something good. I think a first-round pick or a good prospect still on the table. I think he's got 2 years of control left. It's only $5.5–6 million. It's not bad for a cap that's going up. Number three, Mika Zibanejad, what's going to happen with him? They're going to make his life miserable this offseason trying to trade him. Like, hey, your best friend Kreider's out the door. We clearly don't want you here. Do you either want to stay or do you want to try to go to a team that you kind of, want to try to work with? Maybe they eat a little bit of cap. Who knows?
Does he have a trade
that's
clause?
Three.
Where
he does. No movement clause. So completely, buyout proof. Can't send to the minors. It's either he stays and works as a wing.
Does he have to submit like a list of teams, or that's not even?
No,
that's not on
full,
the table.
No movement.
Nothing.
Right. And then
so he can kibosh anything. We're like, hey, we can trade you to Colorado, and he could say no or yes.
Yeah, I mean, we could say, hey, Dallas wants you. Do you want to go to Dallas? He could say no. He could do that. For Lafreniere, what is going on with him? He signs a monster deal. Yeah, but he signed a monster deal, and I don't know. He signed a monster deal, and he just had a bad year after that.
It's a monster deal, but like we said, I still think he's not.
Oh, it's good for the cap.
He's still a manageable cap.
Yeah.
We have a Facebook question here. Matthew Bryan London. What do you think about Mitch Marner?
To the Rangers, I don't think they have the cap room, but
well, if all of that is done,
I don't think he's staying in Toronto. I think they would have
if all of that is
done by now.
If you can shave off all that cap space, like if all of those guys that you're talking about are gone, I think you can
definitely afford
Mitch Marner. Is he somebody? I mean, I think there's your number one center right there. I think you kind of. That's not bad. I don't think that's a bad ad. I mean, we're not, and Toronto's Toronto, so I'm not going to just be like Mitch Marner doesn't produce in the playoffs and just disappears. Like, I understand that it's a thing, and we might see what happens this season as well. But you can't dispute what he does in the regular season. The fact that he is a bona fide number one center. So that would be a good starting piece, him and Panarin, and then trying to figure out where you're going the rest. The only thing is I'm saying that so that's a good piece to acquire in the offseason if you're going to unload a lot of cap with all of these other players. But you're getting picks and prospects, probably not the high-end prospects, but some guys who probably have some value that maybe will surprise you down the line, but won't be guys that are going to be like, immediate roster players. So if you dump all of that and before free agency starts, you can start with Mitch Marner. I don't know that you're going to just like sign every other big name to improve your roster there, but I don't see you being a better team next season doing all of those moves. It's going to be it's going to be a couple years down the road. Unless you want to do something like Washington did, which is it's what I've been talking about with Pittsburgh, that it's like a soft rebuild instead of a hard rebuild.
Yeah.
Not like what Chicago did, not like what Detroit's been doing for the last 15 years or however long it's been with them. But shed some pieces, get some young players that are ready to play now instead of just stockpiling picks. Picks can be good as to be used as trade pieces. So that's not bad. So
you guys know all about that.
Dubas acquired all these picks. They have 30 picks in the next 3 years or something like that. The most out of any team in the NHL. And all of that can be used to acquire other players.
I don't think that the Rangers would be the number one team for a Mitch Marner. Could you see him in Pittsburgh, Steve? Is there enough cap room that you can do that?
There will be enough cap room, and I think they're also in the market to shed a lot of salary, whether or not they can do it. But I don't know that that's the priority. I would like to see somebody like Mitch Marner, a younger center who can potentially take, the 1A, 1B, like what Malkin and Crosby used to be. And then Malkin potentially, moves to wing. I don't think that's the worst idea. I don't know that you
Marner,
have.
By the way, is 27. Will be 28.
Yeah, so I mean,
he's still pretty prime.
You still get a pretty long-term contracts, and he could, still produce. But my concern, so I don't want to go off on a tangent about Pittsburgh, but my concern is number one. Besides addressing goaltending, they do have young, promising goaltenders in the roster. Whether or not they can take over duties, probably isn't the smartest decision because Murashov is 20, so I don't know that you want to hand the reins over to a 21-year-old if that's good for his development. I think he could probably benefit from a full season in the AHL. Maybe try to give the opportunity, because not going into the season having Jari and Nedeljkovic and then that's it. And then the other guys just can compete for AHL minutes. I don't think that's a good plan. I think that they can potentially compete for a NHL roster spot. But beyond that, the entire defensive unit needs to be revamped. Almost in its entirety.
You think Marner's at 11 or 12-ish, probably around there, cap hit total? I don't think
I guess
it
depends. I think he can. I think
somebody's definitely going to pay that.
So
somebody's going to
and where is
shell
he
out for
scoring?
him.
Here are the teams. Here are the teams with current cap space. You have San Jose Sharks,
Chicago
$40 million.
By the way.
Blue Jackets, $40 million. I don't think he's going to these teams.
Yeah, he's not going to pick up.
Ducks, Winnipeg Jets.
Scoring. Another 100 points.
Ducks, Winnipeg Jets. Carolina Hurricanes. I don't see him going to Carolina, but
I don't either.
Calgary Blackhawks could throw him $15 million a year because they
go play with Bedard. I think they could be a dark horse.
Yeah, Islanders not happening. Toronto Maple Leafs will have cap space actually, crazily, but that's because they're losing Marner.
Tavares is gone.
Yep, and Tavares is gone, so they could sign Ree there. Boston Bruins have 26. I mean, could he flip over to the dark side and go to Bruins? Interesting.
That would be hilarious.
Flyers, Penguins, Kings, Buffalo Sabres, Detroit, Seattle Kraken. They all in the $20 million range. Minnesota,
it depends
Utah,
on what
Florida.
he wants. Does he want to join a team that is developing and is kind of on the cusp? Or does he want a big payday? Or does he just want to sign a shorter term contract? I'm assuming at his age now he wants a long term contract, so I don't think he's going to just sign a 1 year or whatever.
No, he's at the age where this is his big score contract that he needs to to get. He's 27.
I understand.
28. This is his big contract.
He's going to be 28. I understand the whole issue with injuries. You have the certainty of, hey, I'm going to have 8 years at $11 million or whatever. But with the cap increasingly going up, why not sign 2-year deals and just go 12 by 2, 12 by 2, and next one if you can get 14 and keep trying. I don't know. I think that's an interesting way to go about it.
I think with
they
hockey
like the
players
certainty.
Specifically, it's the certainty and it's
because you never know
staying
what
players.
But hockey players in general, on the whole, but they're also family men, right? Yeah. So most of them have families pretty young, actually. They have 1-2 kids by the time they're in the mid-20s, even, or almost certainly always married. Not all of them, but there's a lot of them. So a lot of them want to, just put their roots in somewhere and have their kids be able to grow up somewhere, have their their wives happy, have the whole family happy. And you get that a lot, especially with the superstars. That's why you don't see a lot of them just doing a couple years here and there just to collect paydays and also getting a chance to win cups. Winning cups is important to them, but I think a lot of times family comes as a priority, and they like to choose a place that can kind of maybe give you both. A very good opportunity to win a cup within the spectrum of your contract. You get the financial stability, and you also get the term stability where you can have a family that can live wherever it is that they choose to live.
Yeah. I don't want to make this also about the Rangers, but there was a bunch of big things this weekend from the Rangers, of course.
Too late.
They just can't get out of their own way. But the Calvin DeHaan thing where he walks past a bunch of press, Molly Walker and Colin Stevenson, and basically says that, I've been fucked and he doesn't want to be here anymore, or that, they just haven't given him the, time of day. And he says it's finally over. And then you have Mark Messier saying what they need to do to have leadership, and that is identify a captain leader, create an identity. Basically, he's saying I need to be the coach. You had just the whole
Did
thing.
Did he elaborate, by the way,
was,
DeHaan?
Yeah, he had a message that went on
something.
Twitter. and officially came out and said, I have it written down because
he came in what trade? He came over.
He was
right?
in the trade with the Avalanche.
Trade,
Avalanche. Right? The Avalanche.
Who won over?
He was traded
for
the
Lindgren,
right?
Lindgren, yeah.
Yeah. But he essentially said, I'm trying to find this. Going to get ahead this now. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But, he was hoping to get a little bit more time. He was 2-on-1 when he played in the first 3 games, after coming in here, and then they got out and he didn't know what happened. He knows he's not a 20-minute night guy, but essentially he, knows he can keep up and play, meaningful minutes. He's trying to get, he's a veteran. He's trying to get another deal, and he's going to say this stuff. But the problem is he's not the only vet and the only player that said this. You had Trouba going out. You had Zach Jones that said this. You had Jimmy Vesey. You had him. You have, a bunch of guys, Capocacco, that just, not a great look on the Rangers organization. And this is where, obviously the coach I think is long gone. And I was not a fan of what he did this year. But I'm on the fence with Chris Drury. I don't think you can let this stuff fester in your organization.
Yet.
I don't think he is either. And I like some of the moves that he's made. And, I forgot who said this, but someone said, think about what people asked Chris Drury to do this offseason. It was make the team better, but you're not going to send the guys that just won you a President's Trophy. Like, you're not going to all of a sudden trade Kreider or Zibanejad when they literally just had career years for you your season before. So, like, what was he supposed to do? Unfortunately, he just the locker room was a cancer after, Jacob Trouba, the whole issue with him. And that just soured this locker room.
Goodrow started.
Shame. Yeah.
Goodrow started it, and then the Trouba thing was the straw. Broke the camel's back.
But shame on the rest of the locker room for okay, you can hate your management, but don't let that affect your play. Then go out and win in spite of them. Don't all of a sudden just collapse, which is what they did. The entire locker room just dissolved, and that's what made the team just falter in November, December, and there was just too much to get out of here. But, the names that I think will come back, obviously Miller, Panarin, that's big. Trocheck, Lafreniere will probably be back because he's unless they get a stud for him, which is going to be tough. I have Cooley on here if they can re-sign him, but Perreault, Parsonen, Berard, Othman, Edstrom, Brodzinski, unfortunately Matt Rempe, these are all guys that are middle to bottom 6 players. So you have a whole roster of forwards right there. And then on defense, you do have Keandre if he's back, but Fox, Borgen, Schneider, Susi, Vakanainen, like you have guys there that are going to be there. So this is not a better team than what you're getting rid of. I realize that unless they can get a big stud for some reason, a Marner or a trade for a big high-end player, maybe Lafreniere is the piece that goes back for someone. I'm not saying Brady Tkachuk, although I'd love it. It's not going to happen, but someone of that ilk, it's not going to be fun for Rangers land. But a couple good rookies coming up, making their debuts. Zeev Buum arrived. He's skating with his teammates. That defense for the Wild with him and Faber is they're good. So I'm looking forward to that. Also, we just talked about this before on the podcast. What's his name from Montreal comes in.
Demidov.
Thank you, Demidov. Oh my God, I was thinking Mishkov for a second. Demidov, he already scores in his debut, so he's up on 1
goal and assist.
Goal and assist. A couple injuries, which does suck. It looks like Ekholm might be down for the year. I know it says round 1, but bunch of pundits were saying that they think that this could be a season ender. Schwim, your boy from center that you brought him from Minnesota. Not Minnesota.
Seattle.
Bjorkstrand.
Yes.
He could be out for round 1 too.
Yeah, that sucks. They just got in 3 games. They got 3 different injuries. It was him, Glendening, and last night Radish. Although I think he's going to be okay, but friggin' Glendening they said is out indefinitely, and Bjorkstrand out week to week. So I'm like, God damn it! They just acquired these friggin' players for depth, and now they lost one of them.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, and they're going to probably recall Atkinson or Sheary or some shit, and it's going to be terrible.
Yeah, both Thompson and Protas are out for the Caps. They're hoping to get them in for round 1. We talked about Bjorkstrand. Jets obviously winning the President's Trophy, which was pretty big. I wish Schwartzguy was here, and I did not get a chance to listen to Let's Go Devils podcast yesterday, but the Paul Cotter suspension, he got 2 games for the illegal hit. Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
I didn't see it, no.
On Adam Pelech. Yeah, not a good one.
Scum of the week.
Yeah, scum of the week. I like it. But of course, Devils fans and obviously Rangers fans then chirp back. If this was Rempe, you guys would be all over us, and rightfully so. They would. But yeah, not a good hit. He kind of chicken wings him a little bit.
He makes a stupid hit like that.
Absolutely.
Too, so.
Yeah. And I'm the biggest Rempe, just destroyer. I hate that MFer. But 2.
By the way, I didn't know what you were talking about, Schwim, in that when you said I love Rempe. I had no idea what you were talking about.
You scored.
You scored.
Oh, okay.
Scored. I'm like,
for the first time in NHL history, the Rangers, Penguins, and Bruins did not qualify for a playoff spot, and the original 6 American teams. So that would be obviously Detroit, Rangers, Boston, Chicago did not make the play. One of them did not make the playoffs. So not good for for the historical franchises. Maybe Canada can do something. Although I do not want Montreal to make the cup.
It's like if their fans weren't so insufferable, I would root for them.
They
harder,
are
but
insufferable.
I am rooting for them at least in round 1.
I still want Chicago. I still want Columbus. If they could miracle make it in,
I would like Columbus
just for the story. Just for the story, it is so good. I mean, just what they went through is just crazy, and for them to make the playoffs off of this, and that's why I think
rooting for Chicago.
Montreal. So.
Even if they don't make the playoffs,
Montreal just needs a point. Just a point.
Montreal needs a point. Yeah.
Even
if they don't make the playoffs, I think he deserves some Coach of the Year votes, if not Coach of the Year, just for everything that went through with that team.
At least a nomination, right? For,
he's got to be a top 3. Yeah,
he could get it. I could see that happening.
Although I don't know. If they miss the playoffs, has there ever been a Jack Adams nominee for a team that didn't make the playoffs?
Has a Jack Adams?
Is that like an easy thing to find out?
Maybe.
I mean, we're going to see in a second. Hopefully, Google knows what, and it's not weird shit. Several Jack Adams nominees have coached teams that missed the playoffs. For example, in 2024, the Wild missed the playoffs, but John Hines.
Last year?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't either. Stupid
AI just making shit up.
Yeah, bullshit.
I mean, does it mean like
last year was bonus
for
that Tocchet?
Yeah, maybe they received.
Maybe he got votes, but he wasn't a finalist.
Yeah.
AI could suck it.
I think you know what. While we're at it, while we're on the subject of Montreal, if we are, Tyler Bertuzzi might be the ugliest person in the league.
He's fugly.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, not good looking. Rangers 3-3 with the Panthers. Blackhawks, Canadians 2-2. We just said it. 3-3, 2-2.
Wow,
of
they're
course,
down
the Rangers
3-1.
are going to win. The Rangers are definitely going to win meaningless games because that's what they do. Yeah, I know you want them to win.
I definitely want them to win.
JT Miller scored. Yusuf Parsonen, who will probably be the third line center next year, scored, and lovely Matt Rempe. Oh God. Kendrick Miller got 2 assists. And then Sam Reinhart with 2 goals. He's doing pretty well, Mr. Reinhart. All right, let's go a little stats action. Cooch, 119. Most likely is going to win the
he's got
Ross.
McKinnon's done
and also 70
his last game.
Yeah, and also Kucherov, 76 games versus Nathan McKinnon, 79. Draisaitl with only 71. He's a 106. Goal leaders, so Kucherov with 83 assists, McKinnon 84 assists, so maybe Kuch takes him in assists. Goals, Steve already talked about Draisaitl, Nylander, and Thompson. What's the fun factoid?
I have a fun. My sister-in-law, Tracy, just texted me asking me if I knew who Catherine Tappan was.
Oh,
and apparently she's her new client for her pet sitting business.
Oh, wow.
Where does she live?
Okay.
I mean, not that we're going to tell the masses.
I'm not going to disclose it on the podcast.
No, but I guess she's in Jersey?
No, and I'm not going to... I'm not going to disclose any of her living details.
Oh, no, I agree. But
I just want to know what kind of dog that she has. That's my next question.
Yeah.
Or how many?
Interesting. I had a couple more little factoids, tidbits. Let's see here. Obviously, Ovechkin got the goal record last week. We talked about that. We talked about Maurice Leakins and his propensity to draw contact, which got a written warning kind of thing from the league. I don't know. You guys got anything else you want to talk about? Kind of did a bunch of stuff. Different directions.
Happy Trails, Pat Maroon, and Alec Martinez both retiring. And Logan Couture announced today.
Couture's retiring?
Yeah, because
I missed that.
Injury-related issues.
That's one guy. Could have just been a beast.
Sucks. Yeah.
Fortunately.
It sucks that that's how you have to retire because of an injury.
Yeah.
You can't just go out when you want.
That's a big one we missed. Gabriel Landeskog, who played 2 games for the Colorado Eagles. He comes back. He's skating. He's going to most likely play game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs for Colorado.
That's going to be crazy.
3 years since not playing hockey
since the friggin' Stanley Cup, since he won it.
And I like that a lot of people have not mentioned them as, having issues with, the whole cap circumvention, because obviously this guy's missed 3 years of injury. Like, Colorado's going to do everything they can to try to protect this player, and I'm very okay with him being someone that they bring in game 1, and for cap ramifications, that's kind of just what happens. So, I had a couple other things that I thought I wanted to reach out to you guys about, and now I am, of course, missing. Shroom, say something funny.
Pucka pucka, wuzzle wuzzle.
Oh man. Sorry. Great podcasting. Adam, they're talking about who's going to be back in the room, all this Molly Walker stuff. People throwing out Shesterkin versus Vasilevsky stats, which actually are pretty interesting.
For what, this year?
No, just overall career. I don't know if you've seen this.
I was going to say, because it's not even close this year.
No. So this is in their careers. Shesty, 917 save percentage. Vasilevsky, 915. 255 for Shesty versus 259 for Vasilevsky, goals against average. And then goals saved above average, 91 for Shesterkin, 89 for Vasi. And then in the playoffs, Vasi, 921 save percentage. Shesterkin, 928. Shesterkin 239 goals against average, Vasi 245, and then goals saved 33 versus 27.
What about Tristan Jarry?
You forgot a very important stat.
Stanley Cup wins. I know those are the differences. We talked about Kenny Albert replacing Sam Rosen. Z Buum, I forgot about this before, but him getting pranked by Fleury twice. One while he's on the press conference with reporters at his stall, he just threw a wet towel at him, and then he told them to go when they went to sit in the theater to go over the coaches thing. He's like, "Yeah, sit wherever you want," and he sat down. He goes, "That's my seat." So he made a move. I love.
I want Fleury's going to retire, but I wish he would just in around and prank people in retirement.
Yeah,
I wonder if he's going to. I wonder if he's going to pursue some sort of other position in hockey.
I think goalie coach,
maybe, or I don't know that he would want. I don't know that he would want the. I mean, I don't know necessarily, but I don't know that he would really want a coaching position, and more of advisor or something along those lines. Or even, I mean, I don't know how we do in broadcasting. I mean, I would still love that.
He speaks decent English, but I don't think right? He's not the greatest English speaker, right? It's
I mean, he just has a heavy accent. He knows the language fluently. He just has a very heavy accent.
You could see him or don't see him.
I don't see him doing broadcasting. I see him more of
like a
player development.
I mean, he's probably well settled in Minnesota at this point, but I do hope he ends up back in Pittsburgh in some capacity.
Yeah. I mean, I think just because his kids, right? His kid's going to be there for a while. State of hockey. Forgot about Canucks. The Yakov Trenin late punch on Derek Forbort where he broke his orbital bone. That was absolutely dirty, and of course, player safety doesn't know what to do. They get their hand up their ass. So
no
good
suspension?
job.
Nothing?
Yeah, nothing.
That's about right.
Top 10 5-on-5 players so far this year in scoring. Pasternak 1 at 64. Kucherov 2 at 58. Then you got 2 non-playoff players in Crosby and Panarin at 55 each. Hagel at 5 with 54. McKinnon at 6 with 53. And then you got Draisaitl, Robertson, Kyle Connor, and Alexei Protas finishing up the top 10. Here's your lovely Bridgeport Islanders stat of the week. Bridgeport Islanders, obviously them of the horrible New York Islanders. Here's their home schedule. They finished 4-28-1 at home for the fewest wins in AHL history. They also had a -70 goal differential, 146-76, and their home schedule ended with a 7-game losing streak. I love it.
Did they just not have players on the ice playing or something? Like, how are you that bad?
Fantastic.
Oh my God! But
Blue Jackets.
We hate the Islanders.
Yeah, Blue Jackets have scored either 0 goals or 6+ goals in 34
there he goes.
games. Uh-oh.
You got to say that again.
So Blue Jackets have scored either 0 goals or 6 goals in over 34% of the games this season.
I'm assuming 0 is the majority.
I think it was close to half and half. It was like 64.
No.
They're a weird team.
Alex Ovechkin, on what made him score 896 goals, or what helped him score 896
Flamin' hot
goals?
Cheetos.
Yeah.
Well, besides that, sex really helps, actually, before and after the game.
Oh, and during sometimes also, I believe.
Wife optional?
Maybe. I didn't see that part. He didn't mention that part, but pretty good. Ehlers obviously got hurt, bumping into the official, which sucked.
Yeah, I saw that live.
I didn't even see that. I just heard it. I'm like, he bumped into an official and got hurt.
Yes, it was such a innocuous collision. I was trying to figure out. I was like, is he embellishing, to make the ref feel bad or something? Because it looked like nothing at all. It was really quite bizarre.
Yeah. I forgot this. So Gabe Perreault, which I thought that once you sign an ELC, you automatically lose that year. The Rangers actually don't lose the year of his ELC because he only played in 5 games and they were eliminated from playoff contention. So they actually got lucky. But
really?
Yeah.
I thought since you play in NHL, they call you up.
So if you don't play the minimum amount of games, I guess at the end of the year, which is 5, which he just plays 5, then you don't lose that year. That's bullshit.
Minimum is 5, and he played 5, so he should
playing
have
5.
earned the year.
He's playing tonight.
No. Whatever the minimum, maybe it's 6. Then he only plays 5, so he doesn't lose that ELC year.
Okay.
He's only played 2 games.
I thought as soon as you play, if you sign out of college, as soon as you sign your entry level, and if you play that year, you burn that first year.
Because in the beginning of the year, you can play up to 9 games, and then you have to either determine to go back to juniors or you can stay in the NHL and burn your year. But that's at the beginning of the year. I don't know how it works towards the end, but I guess they didn't make it. I don't know if you guys saw this. So Columbus played a game against the Washington. They won 6-0 in the game.
7-7.
Dmitry Voronkov received a game misconduct earlier in the period, but continued to play, and the officials noticed and gave Columbus a minor penalty for having an illegal player.
How does that happen?
How is that missed?
Obviously the player probably should have known he had a misconduct.
Lack of communication.
How do the refs not lead him off the ice?
Yeah, he doesn't speak English, so I don't think he understood the ref, and he didn't leave. But like you would think somebody would tell him, like, "Hey,
the coach would know whoever's putting him back on the ice." I'm assuming there had to have been some sort of major miscommunication.
Yeah,
and it wasn't done intentionally because otherwise that would be pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny just playing.
Or maybe maybe they thought it was a 10-minute misconduct and not a game misconduct, so they just like brought him out there.
Yeah. Kucherov is the fourth player in NHL history with 4 consecutive 80-assist seasons. The other 3, Schwim, Wayne Gretzky, Paul Coffey, and Bobby
Orr. Yep.
Pretty good.
That's pretty great company.
We obviously hate Budweiser, but this was a cool thing. So they sent out
this is the only good thing Budweiser has ever done.
The 895 beers, the 895s, and they sent it to all the goalies that had not been scored on. And unfortunately, one of those goalies. So there were 35 active goaltenders before Ovechkin scored 895. The goal that night was scored against one Ilya Sorokin. He was a part of the 35, so there are only now 34. But you had Devon Levi and all these guys coming out and sending, congrats and obviously showing their beers. Devon Levi said, "Thanks for the 4 dumpins." Cujo said, something about, thanks for only 1 shot. And then he said, Ovi said, "You should have played 1 more game." There's a bunch of stuff.
Yoel Blomqvist was one of those goalies.
Oh, he was?
And I think he saved I think he played against him twice, and I think he saved 14 shots or something like that.
Not too bad.
Didn't Ovi say was it to Cujo or somebody else? He's saying, or was it Kolzig? I forget. So he tweeted something at him, and then he's like, "I would have scored on you eventually, but you retired."
Yeah, you retired. Yeah.
No, that was Cujo. The Kolzig thing was that I think he assisted. I think on 4 of his.
Yes.
Kolzig.
Yeah. Kolzig, you said,
no idea.
You assisted. You were part of my history because you assisted on 4 of my goals. He goes, "How did you know that?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, I didn't know that. Yeah.
That's all my Twitter saves.
Well done.
That's all I got. Best defensive forwards this season via hockey stat cards. Number 1, Sam Reinhart. Number 2, Barkov. 3, Cirelli. 4, Logan O'Connor. 5, Seth Jarvis. 6, Esto Lusserainen. 7, Hagel. 8, Lundell. 9, Martinook. And 10, Connor Garland. Missing from that list, 1, Nico Hischier, the top defensive forward according to most Devils fans.
Although he had a great offensive season, so I'll give him that. I guess just not the whole defensive.
Yeah.
I guess he's not taking over Patrice. I don't know if we're going to see somebody like. I honestly don't think we're ever going to see somebody like Patrice, but at this point, I don't think we have anybody that's even remotely close.
He sure had 67 points, 35 goals, pretty good. 35 right there is the good one. Just for Brad, obviously.
I didn't know he had that much. Brad's
obviously the one that's had a really good year. Yeah. He only plays 18 minutes a night too. You figure he'd be the 20s.
Well, he's not the top center, right?
No, Brett.
Oh, Brett. Yeah. Well, yeah, you would think he would. At least the top minute forward. Is he the top minute forward, or is that Hischier?
No, the top minute forward is Hischier. Yes. Well, technically Jack Hughes, but
does Bratt play a penalty kill?
Oh, he does. Yeah, he scored a shorthanded assist against.
That's actually strange that he doesn't. It's strange he doesn't have more minutes then. If he's playing both power play and penalty kill, I don't know how you're not over 20 minutes a game.
Shrim, did I say the stat about the Sabres and Ovechkin stats last week?
Sabres and Ovechkin? I don't think so.
Steven, I don't think I told you this. The last time the Buffalo Sabres made the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Alex Ovechkin was 594 goals away from the record.
The last time the Buffalo Sabres made the playoffs, Mike Modano was still in the league.
Yes. Wow. Just utterly amazing.
They have spurts you know what, they were already comfortably eliminated, not mathematically, but comfortably eliminated, and they had spurts where they looked pretty good in some of these games, and then
their last stretch of games, they've been really good.
Yeah,
they've been scoring like crazy, but just like, where was this the rest of the season?
Yeah,
and I don't know that next year is going to be.
It's probably it could be worse.
Any different.
It could be worse next year.
It could be because they could lose more.
Yeah,
good.
I don't understand that organization. I think it's best not to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, everything in general. You guys got anything else? Steve, did you have a stat you wanted to go over?
I don't think so. Did I mention a stat recently?
Oh, you said hold on. You were about ready to look at something and then you stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. I got us.
I don't remember.
That's all right. I don't remember half the stuff anyway. Yeah, that's all I got for
playoff hockey this weekend.
Yes. Saturday game start will be exciting. Paul Cotter, you suck. We'll have our records. We'll have our records out for the playoffs for Monday's episode. I will get them this weekend so that no one cheats.
Should we do a pre-playoff like MVP and?
The music's playing. The music's playing. Schwim.
It's over.
It's time to sign off.
We'll
cut it.
My non-beer a 0. This was absolutely horrible.
Mine was a 4. I actually really like
Sans lemon.
Shrimp, take her home.
Good old 61, 4.5. Lesbian Confederate hookers abducted by UFOs and forced into weight loss programs. All this week on Hockey on Tap.